Welcome along to the big Celtic end of season quiz for the 24-25 season. This is Tino from the Celtic Exchange, joined by a real guest list of Celtic Fan Media. We've got Tony from the Four Tims podcast, we've got Paul from Celtic Fans TV, Quinny from Celts Are Here, Scotty from the Homebhoiys podcast, and Hamish all the way from Melbourne from Celtic AM, and of course Paddy joining me here from a Celtic Exchange point of view. First and foremost, the quiz itself is a bit of fun. It's a good way for us to connect and wrap up on the season that was, but also there's a more serious side as such. There's a charitable element to what we do here, and thanks to the kindness of the guys on the call here just now, there's going to be £400 going to the nominated charity of the winner's choice, which is great to see. On that note, I'll come to Tony first. Tony from the Four Tims podcast. Tony, great to have you on. What's your nominated charity for this one?
Yeah, it'll be the John Byrne Foundation. John does a lot of great work for kids in hospital and their families. So, happy to nominate him for this one.
Yeah, great cause. John's a great guy and, as you say, does some brilliant stuff. So a very worthy nomination. Paul is here from Celtic Fans TV. Paul, first time on the Celtic Exchange. Great to have you here first and foremost. Welcome to the show. What's your own nomination for charity?
Hi, thanks for having us on, mate. Good to be here. My charity is the Trussell Trust. So they do a lot of great work for people in poverty. They run a community food banks across the country. So that's who I'm going with.
Brilliant stuff. Quinny, good to have you back. You were part of things this time last year. I don't think you were quite the wooden spoon, but you were teetering on the brink. Is that fair to say?
I was holding the show up from the bottom. That's what it was. I was second bottom, but I held it up there. And I appreciate being invited back despite that performance. So thanks a lot, buddy. And,
great to have you back. What's your own charity for this one, Quinny?
The Chaz Children's Hospice for me.
Chaz, great charity. And Ryan 118, who was here last year, he's sunning himself in Tenerife or somewhere, so he can't be here, but he was also supporting Chaz last year, so great to see. Scotty, great to have you here again from the Homebhoiys podcast. You were there or thereabouts down the bottom of the barrel last year too, but we'll not dwell on that. What's your own nominated charity?
You keep saying this. I'm sure I came third. I'm sure I did. Have you just got a wee bit of deja vu here, guys? So, we'll charity again, just the same as last year, medical aid for Palestine.
Medical aid for Palestine, yep, great stuff. Yourself and Asim were both behind that one last year. Hamish, welcome, as I say, all the way from Melbourne. Thanks for making the effort. I know it's early bells, 5 a.m, where you are, so we really appreciate it. Good to have you back on the show. What's your nominated charity this time around?
Yeah, cheers, Tino. Good to be on. Just like Scott, I'm going for medical aid for Palestinians as well.
Great stuff, and thanks for that. Paddy, you're obviously here representing the Celtic Exchange, and great to have you here from our point of view. What's your own nominated charity?
Yeah, cheers, Tino. Thanks for having us on, and cheers to everyone for joining us tonight as well. For us, Tino, I'm going to go for Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF. They're based out in Gaza at the moment, and obviously just some horrible conditions. So we do a lot of work out in the Middle East. So yeah, good to try and support them as well.
Yeah, great stuff. So as I say, thanks first of all for being here, to everyone that's here on the recording, but thanks too for your kindness and making those donations to the charity. And as I say, we'll find one lucky winner in due course over the next, 40 minutes or so, and £400 will be going to that charity. Just to explain the format then, so it is a big quiz of 24-25, and on that basis, the first section, the first 8 questions, will focus on the season that was as Celtic lifted the double. The middle section will be a bit of a mixed bag, 6 questions, fairly random, some fairly tough ones in there about anything and everything Celtic. And then we'll return for section 3 back to the 24-25 season, a further 6 questions to see us out. And we'll get different tallies as we go through, and we'll speak to the guys here and find just a wee bit more about their channels, their shows, and what their plans are for the season ahead. So we'll get cracking with question 1. As I say, this is all covering the 24-25 season. Question number 1, in the pre-season tour of America, Celtic beat DC United, Chelsea and Man City, scoring 4 times in each of those games. In the 4-3 win over City, Nicholas Kuhn got 2 goals, Kyogo got 1, but who scored our winner on the day? So who scored the winner as we beat Man City 4-3? And I'll crack right on, and if at any point, lads, if you need a refresher, a reminder, just put the paw up or let me know, and I can repeat anything we need to on that basis. But number 2, Sean McArdle made his debut towards the end of the season and featured in league games against Hibs and Aberdeen. However, 3 of his fellow Celtic Academy teammates also registered a single appearance during the season, so just 1 appearance. Name those 3 players, and there's a point for each. So along with Sean... Yep.
This is 3 academy players that played once. It's not just the squad, it's just academy players.
just academy players. So senior players don't count in this one. Fellow academy players of Sean McArdle making one appearance. There is one who made 2 appearances, so that might throw you. But there's 3 kids who made 1 appearance, and you'll get a point for each. Moving on to number 3. No player featured in all of Celtic's games. We played 57 games throughout the campaign, but one player came pretty close. He had the most appearances at 55. Name that player. So who was Celtic's highest appearance maker with 55 out of our 57 games? And number 4, and this is at the opposite end of that scale, there was one player in the squad who didn't play a single minute in the 24-25 season. Name that player. Question number 5. Brendan Rodgers' preferred front 3 of Dyson Maeda, Nicholas Quinny and Adam Idah. They scored 33, 21 and 20 goals respectively during the season. They were the top 3 scorers across the campaign in that order. But who was Celtic's 4th top scorer for the campaign? And a bonus point if you can name how many goals he scored. So Maeda, Kuhn and Idah were the top 3 scorers. Who was just behind them in number 4?
Do they still need to be here, Tino?
At the club?
Aye.
I wouldn't like to say. He may not be here anymore. Question number 6. We opened our Champions League campaign with a 5-1 win over Slovan Bratislava on the 18th of September. Who opened the scoring that night? So who scored the first goal as we beat Slovan Bratislava 5-1 on Champions League match day 1?
Get an extra point if you can see who assisted it.
I'll give you half a point if you can say who assisted. Scotty seems to think he's got it. He's celebrating in the background, which is good to see. You've got it at least 1 out of 8, Scotty, so that's not bad. We'll see how you go with the rest. Question number 7. So 7 of 8 in this round. Question number 7. Across our 38 league games, how many did we lose? And I'll give you a bonus, actually, if you can name the teams that we lost to. So how many games did we lose of the 38? And bonuses for who those losses were against. And final question before we wrap up section 1. Celtic's record for league goals scored in a season is 116. But how many did we score this season? So quite simply, how many goals did Celtic score across 38 league games this season? Is there any question anyone would like me to go over? So that's 8 questions for round 1. Let me know by all means. If not, we can get to the scoring. All good. Okay, so we'll run through them. As I say, it's an honesty policy here, lads. So I know you've been scribbling down your answers, and we'll trust you to mark your own homework, and we'll see how we go. So question number 1, to get the ball rolling. In the pre-season tour, we beat DC United, Chelsea and Man City. But in that 4-3 win over City, who got the winner? Nicholas Kuhn got 2 goals, Kyogo got 1. But who scored the winner? Anyone got the answer? Anyone think they've got it? Scotty, I'll come to you.
Mikey Johnson.
Mikey Johnson, it was not. Hamish.
Is it Luis Palma?
Luis Palma. Yeah. Scotty, that
Johnson was against Washington, I think he scored, didn't he? Is that like the first game?
Did he score
Chelsea,
against
I think he
Chelsea?
scores against Chelsea. He did he scored the 4th one against Chelsea.
Yeah, but question number 1, Luis Palma. Moving on, Sean McArdle, he made his debut. He got game time. I think he gets 6 minutes against Hibs, then 10 minutes via Aberdeen. And 3 of his fellow academy graduates also played made a single appearance during the season. Name those 3 players. Tony, where did you get to? Did you get any joy?
I've got one for sure. Dane Murray played against Aston Villa away. Came on and made an ass of it, if I remember right, and they scored. I didn't get. I put down Joey Dawson, but I think he played for us about 6 years ago. I don't know why I put him down, but that was about it.
You're right and you're wrong. You are right about Dane Murray, but he made a second appearance. He started. I think he played 90 minutes against Wraith Rovers or somebody like that. So he's got 2. So unfortunately, you won't get that. And Joey Dawson, I don't think he featured, and he's now moved on. I think he left the club in the last week or so. Paul, anything from yourself? I
had Dane Murray the same as Tony as well, but Jude Bonner's
one, yeah.
And Turley, Francis Turley.
He played against St Mirren, I think, on match day 3. And there's one other. Quinny, do you have the other?
I wasn't too sure if we were counting Champions League, but I went Bonner, Turley, Cummings.
Spot on. We absolutely are. So that's the 3. Daniel Cummins, he also played in the Villa game, came on around about the same time as Dane Murray. So a point for
somebody got 2. I thought it was going to be Turley, and I was like, oh no, if it's Turley's not in this, I'm screwed.
Yeah, so Dane Murray with 2, the rest of those boys with 1 appearance each. What just on that? Actually, I'll stick with you, Quinny. What about Sean McArdle? I thought he impressed, and I thought there was maybe a wee window for him to play his way into the final couple of games of the season, if not the cup final. What did you think of his short cameos towards the end of the campaign?
I thought he did really well. Like I managed to go to a lot of the Celtic B Champions League games over the last couple of years. I see Paul at a bunch of them as well. And like when you watch those games, you see the guys like, kind of play the best to their style and the system and whatever. And the big question is normally like, can they bring that confidence to the senior game? Can they actually like kind of show up? I think that's what really went well for Daniel Kelly when he got into the team, because he hit the back of the net a couple of times, But that was one thing. For as much as McArdle's appearances were quite fleeting, or there wasn't much minutes, he looked comfortable. He didn't look, out of his depth. He didn't look shell-shocked or anything like that. His touches were all quite clever and quite neat. And I thought he did well. I do think, but it was part of just like squad management, getting him those minutes at that time. I don't really think, in reality, Brendan or the team would have had space for him in those kind of matches at the end of the season, the final and whatever. But someday, pre-season, certainly, like I'm definitely going to keep an eye on, see how he does in terms of minutes and stuff.
Yeah, I thought it looked quite exciting. Maybe it was a wee bit too much too soon in terms of, featuring a cup final squad, and you've got to, I suppose, look out for your senior pros and try and keep them as happy as you can. But I thought it was quite exciting, and yeah, it's a big pre-season, isn't it, for guys like Sean McArdle and these various other young kids trying to make their way. We'll move on to the next question. So 57 games for Celtic this season, but not one player managed them all. One player did get 55 games. Can you name him? Paddy, I'll come to you.
It's a guess here, obviously. Hatate.
It is Hatate, and he would have played had he not got injured against Aberdeen. I think, is it Daba? No, it wasn't Daba, actually. Who was the player that came on and injured them?
Gay,
aye.
Papa Gay, yeah. So that ruled him out for the last two games. He was on track, and who knows what would have happened cup final wise had he stayed fit. Hamish, does Rio Hatate stay at Celtic, or does he move on this summer?
I feel like he'll probably move on, because he's been with us for 3.5 years, I think, and I just feel like he'll probably want to move on elsewhere. But I think he'll be tough to replace. I'm surprised he played that amount of games. I had McGregor down, so I'm surprised it was Hatate, but I guess it shows, what kind of impact he had for us. So maybe Nygren will be the replacement for him, maybe, in terms of creativity.
Yeah, who knows? There's obviously a lot of talk. Benjamin Nygren, isn't it? And we'll see if looks like it's likely to be confirmed in the next 24 hours or so, but we'll see what happens. It looks like Hatate, in different ways to a young Sean McArdle, is also a bit of a crossroads, isn't he? He's achieved a lot at Celtic, and he might be at this stage where he thinks maybe there's a wee opportunity here to move on. But it'll be interesting to see where he goes, if he goes, and we'll just watch that space in the meantime. At the opposite end of the scale, as mentioned for question number 4, one squad player didn't play a single minute. Who was that player? Any luck with that one, Scotty?
Scott Bain.
Scott Bain, yep. Sad times for Bainiacs across the globe as he moved on to pastures now. He's gone to Falkirk, and listen, good luck to him. Scott Bain's been a good servant. That third choice goalie thing, Scotty, it's a difficult position, isn't it? You know that you're very unlikely to play.
Fantastic position, mate. See, I was a centre half, right? I wasn't good. I get the ball and I gave it to people. So just imagine Celtic employing you, playing for Celtic, and you didn't actually need to play. Dreams are made of that, mate. I know you were actually good, so you enjoyed playing football. Football was a nightmare for me, man.
I suppose the big buzz for the third choice goalie, you get European travel, hotels, sports science, paid to look after your body, and you don't need to do anything. It's not a bad gig, but
I think he's behind Cal Mack and James and Forrest, the amount of medals he's got, man.
He's done all right. I've seen him interviewed, though. He's obviously gone to Falkirk, and he was interviewed, and I get this point of view. He was saying he's got a wee kid now and a fiance, and he wants them to see him play football, and you can understand that. There's obviously the money's takes you to a certain point, but I think there's a bit of personal pride. So good luck to Scott Bain. He's been a great servant for Celtic, and he moves on with everyone's best wishes. And let's go to number 5. So Brendan Rodgers has preferred front three, Maeda, Kuhn and Ida. They were top scorers with 33, 21 and 20 goals respectively. And the question was, who was Celtic's 4th scorer? I'm pretty sure Paul's got it, but on you go, Paul.
I didn't mean to get away, by the way. Kyogo.
He was a 4th scorer. Do you know how many he got for a bonus point?
I think it was 12.
12, exactly. Yep, spot on. So Kyogo, who's moved to Rennes, might be moving back to Birmingham City, which that would seem a bit underwhelming all round, but there's obviously a bit of Celtic connection there with Tomoki Iwata. Chris Davies is the manager and doing good things. They'll have a big budget, but you would have thought that Kyogo Paul would have gone to higher heights than not playing for Rennes and now looking like the Championship.
Yeah, I think you would. Obviously, that agency changed last summer, and it started with the links to Man City, didn't it? And I think he's fallen a bit since that. But I just think it was a badly advised move for him. I mean, I remember when he was going there, looking at how Rennes were playing, the run form they were on. Sam Palou was a manager who's like very erratic. I think I might get sacked before Kyogo played a game, or did he make one appearance and then he get sacked? So it's been a disaster for him. I'd be surprised to see him move to the Championship, but it'd probably be decent money for him. I suppose at 30, if he's trying to get in the thoughts of the national team manager, would the Championship be enough to do that for him if the Scottish Premiership and European football wasn't?
Yeah.
Not sure.
And there's a school of thought with some fans, and you lads can tell me your own thoughts on it, that once they're gone, and they don't care. I'm always quite intrigued to see how guys go. You watch closely at Matt O'Reilly, for example, who might be going to Napoli. You certainly watch Kyogo, because these guys at one point were your heroes, and you were rooting for them as such. And it's just a bit disappointing to see that not only has he barely played, I mean, he's not scored a goal and he's barely had any minutes, and it doesn't reflect well on Celtic, I suppose, does it? When others come sniffing around.
No, not at all. You would have expected him to do well wherever he went. He was so good for us. I know it dropped off under Rodgers a wee bit, but scored so many big goals and big moments for us. But it's just one of the moves, and sometimes it just goes pear-shaped in football when you make a move, wrong club, wrong timing. So
yeah, it seems to be. But like Scott Bain, very different contributions to Celtic. But again, you wish him all the best, and we'll see where he goes in the next season or two. Let's move on to question number 6. So we opened the Champions League campaign with a 5-1 win over Slovan Bratislava, 18th of September. Who opened the scoring for Celtic that night? I'll come to Tony for the answer, and a bonus point if anyone's got who assisted the goal on the night.
I think it was Scales from an Engels corner scored. I hope I've got that right. I look really stupid if I've asked for a bonus point and get it wrong.
So I'm going to need to take your word for it. It was certainly Scales got the goal. I think it was Engels. I'm sure a couple of you lads can confirm. Hamish is nodding away. So we'll go for an Engels assist for a Scales goal. So 2 points up for grabs for that one. Tony, just on that then, Champions League stuff, we took part in this new format. What was it, a league of 32, but you just had to finish top 24 to progress. We managed that. I think we came 21st. That gets you a tie against Bayern Munich, where we, so near yet so far. What was your overall reflections on the European campaign?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed competing. Obviously, the first game was excellent. There was so much pressure in that game. I think people thought it was just we were going to win and that was it. But there was a massive expectation that we had to deliver that game. Had we not, it would have been a bit of a disaster. And I thought we performed really well. And then I think before the next game, we beat St Johnstone 6-0. And I was thinking we were going to go to Dortmund and get a result. Didn't quite transpire, but I thought after that, I thought Atalanta were going to put 7 past us as well, and we put in a really different performance, but probably one of my favourite performances of the season, to go up against one of the main attacks in Europe at that time. Atalanta were flying, and so many times they put 5 and 6 past teams. To get a draw over there, I was delighted. Overall, I really enjoyed the European campaign. Bayern, again, a good team that can put copious amounts of goals past anyone. To go to the Allianz and get a draw, obviously you're thinking, well, we're going to take them the extra time and actually record a 1-0 victory over 90 minutes, which would have been one of the best results in our history, I think, anyway. But it just wasn't to be. But I think that needs to be the focus going forward. It needs to be, every year we need to be building in order to compete in Europe. Obviously, domestic is great, and obviously we want to continue to dominate the league and win as many cups as possible. But I think if we focus on improving for Europe, then the domestic stuff should kind of take care of itself.
Yeah, I think it's a really valid point, isn't it? If you're competing and doing well at Champions League, by default you're going to do well domestically. And I think Brendan Rodgers come back with a remit of improving us and progressing in Europe, and you can't deny they've done so. And to go so close with a very decent Bayern Munich littered with talent, I thought it was a real valiant attempt and a real cause for encouragement for what could lie ahead in the season to come. Paddy, we can't skip by the Dortmund one without mentioning your trip out there. You went with hope and expectation, and as we all did, and it just didn't work out on the night, did it?
I'll never forget that 30 minutes. I've never seen a back line just look so run ragged in such a short amount of time. They were petrified any time Dortmund got the ball. A lot of players were sticking to positions. A lot of players had chucked the tactics out the window. It was just a bit of a mess. Especially even when you go one each, you think, yeah, we're in this, we're back in it again, and no, the floodgates open. So a game that they want to forget, absolutely, but I think they learned an awful lot about what they needed to do and what the manager wanted from them. And as Tony says, if you go into the Atalanta game, it's a totally different Celtic team altogether, but still sticking to almost the same setup, the same formation, just a little bit more discipline. And I think that we need to show that common sense going into Europe. I don't think we can be as naive as what we were against Borussia Dortmund, and I don't think we will in this season coming up.
Yeah, I think the big encouragement was that Rodgers, he kept his cards close to his chest, and in principle he played the same kind of setup formation, but your wingers were nowhere near as high as Dortmund, and they're obviously just far better drilled for that night, and credit to guys like Austin Trusty who had a big game for us, and I thought it was a real mature performance actually, and we've not seen a lot of that in Europe under Brendan Rodgers, and I think again, signs for encouragement. But anyway, let's move on. But overall, a good European campaign, no doubt. Question number 7, of the 38 league games, how many did we lose? So certainly, as you'd expect, we won the majority, but we lost a few. Hamish, any number on that?
So I had 3 down there for a fair bit, and then when Paddy was talking there, I just remembered the hellish St Johnstone performance. So I've got 4 now. Yeah. So was it Rangers twice, Hibs and St Johnstone?
Spot on. So I'll give, let me see, point for saying 4 and a further point if you've named the 3 teams, Rangers times 2, Hibs and St Johnstone. So 2 points up for grabs for that one. Last question of the round. So Celtic's record for league goals scored in a season is 116. How many did we score this season? And I'll stay with you, Hamish, on that one. What have you got?
133.
Fair bit lower. Anyone think they've got it?
Is it 112?
112.
Yep, Scotty and Tony spot on. 112. So,
because I remember going into the last game knowing we needed 5 goals to match the record, I think, and I remember betting us to get 5 goals, and we didn't score until the last minute. I don't want to say who scored in case that's like a question later on.
It kind of is, but we'll get to it. Hamish, I don't know if it's maybe a currency conversion thing. 112 UK goals equals 133 Australian somethings. How's life going out there? How's things going with Celtic AM and the channel?
It's good. Things are good. Just enjoying a kind of few weeks off. It's just been quite quiet, I think, recently. Like end of the season and the summer. I don't know if you guys have found that as well. I've just found that kind of everyone's taking a bit of a breather ahead of the new season. But no, things are good. Just can't wait for the new season and all the Champions League games. Hopefully we can qualify. But it was all those games last season. They were the ones that just, I think, got everyone going. The way we played in some of those matches as well. So things are good here. Just hope Celtic can match it next season.
Yeah, here's hoping. For anyone who's just tuning in and isn't fully aware of what you're now doing, what's the setup with Celtic AM? When does it go live, and where can people find you for that?
Well, the aim is to put a video out in the morning for you guys for the morning back home. I think I say 7 a.m. It's usually a good bit later than that. But yeah, that kind of daily video is just chatting about Celtic. Basically, it's kind of me at the moment. But I think as we get back into the season, there'll be the usual kind of guys coming on as well. So yeah, Celtic AM on YouTube.
Great stuff. So if you've not checked that out already, be sure to do so. I'll come to you now. We'll get the scores in. So 8 questions in round 1, but obviously a few bonus points here and there. So in no particular order, Quinny, I'll come to you first. How did you score?
So I've got a question, right? See, I put 4, right? So I knew we lost 4 times, right? But I named 4 separate teams. I don't know why I thought we only lost to them once. So I did name so I wrote Rangers, Hibs, St Mirren, St Johnstone. Did I get a bonus point?
No. I'll give you the point for 4, but you've not quite nailed the team. So point for that one. So how have you scored overall?
So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I got 6 out of 8. I got the Kyogo one wrong, and I'd ready. I thought I would be honest. I'd already wrote an answer down before Paul kind of let the cat out the bag for us all there, and I thought I'll just keep it, and I'll die by it on that one. And
You're an honest man. I'd never doubt your honesty.
And I'm very embarrassed I never got Scales' first goal against Bratislava. Totally forgot about that, and I just wrote Dyson for that punt. Why not? Yeah.
I suppose for the season it was, if in doubt, guess Dyson, because there's a fair chance it was him, but not on that occasion. So 6 for Quinny. Paul, I'll come to you. Have you scored?
11.
11,
So
that's wrong.
I had Dane Murray, which was wrong, and I had 103. I don't know why I had 103 miles off it with the goals, but there you go.
Solid scoring. Good start. Scott, what about yourself?
10.
10.
Started off with Stinky Mikey, but 10. And
Okay.
3 of the questions were asked by my mate in the motor earlier on. I was like, this one.
Okay,
Is
so
your
good.
mate Tino?
Tony, what about yourself?
9, I got off to a shocker. I put Matt O'Reilly for the goal against Man City, and then I didn't get the youth players, but after that, I done all right, so 9.
Yeah, decent going. Paddy?
Coming in with 8. I was the same. I wrote Maeda for the first goal against Slovan, and I had Dane Murray as well. So aye.
Okay. And finally, Hamish?
10. I think I missed out on, I said Callum McGregor for the most appearances and got the goal thing wrong as well.
Okay. So just a
Sorry,
round-
Tino.
Yep.
I was going to say I only gave myself 1 point for the youth academy thing, so I actually got 8, not 6. Sorry, it's one per point, wasn't it, for the players? It was
I
one.
might need to see your workings here, Quinny.
Oh no, I promise. I promise.
No, at all. So 8 for you then. Yep, one point for each of the academy kids, and you named all 3, didn't you? So 8 for yourself. Okay, so running tally as follows: Paul leading the way on 11, Scotty and Hamish just behind on 10, Tony on 9, and Paddy and Quinny on 8. All to play for, lads, as we head into round 2. Before we do so, Scotty, what about the Homeboys? What are they up to just now? He's taking a wee break, or he's back at it?
Aye, we're doing none
Right.
at all. Everybody's all gone holidays and stuff like that, and so we only is obviously we just do it when there's people available, people want to talk about something. I've got a couple of guys lined up. I've actually got a Wrexham fan lined up, and I just want to kind of just have a wee natter about what's happening with him, because the boys are big Tim and all, so I'm going to get him on. But don't know. We'll pick up at some point. Do you know what I mean? When somebody fancies a baby, we'll just turn up.
Fair enough. You've made a thing, Scott, in recent years of speaking to opposition fans. Is that something you'll keep going?
Yeah. I really enjoy them. They're great fun, and obviously I've had yourself and Hamish have helped me out when we've played the other mob, because I don't want to speak to them. So no, but that's great fun, because you're building up these friendships with guys who just see football totally different for you. Do you know what I mean? And the European ones are always great. I know Hamish does a good wad of them as well. And Hamish, you agree with me? How magic is it just talking to like see, I spoke to this wee Slovan fan. Do you know what I mean? It was brilliant fun. Obviously, there's a wee bit of a story that went with the Club Brews guy. He ended up getting a doing, but that was that's a different story.
We'll not get into that in too much detail, because I've not got any space for lawsuits, and that £400 in bank for charity, I don't want to begin that to...
We'll just say poor hands, all right? Poor hands.
Fair enough. But yeah, so Homeboys will be back soon enough. No set plans.
I'll tell you, you were talking there about the Dortmund, man, right? And you guys know I used to go to Dortmund pretty regular. I've got pals. I go good few times a season and all that. And that game was one of the hardest nights of my life, and I was all there, and it hurt me in my soul. And it didn't help that I watched Hamish before I went, and Hamish had us beating him, and I was like, I'm not usually a positive guy, and so the defeat was Hamish's fault, just to let you know.
I think we all fell in that trap. It wasn't where we were going to beat them. It was by how many. We had the win banked. It was just, was it going to be 2-0 or 3-0, and we all fell into the trap. Paul, you guys, as well as the fans' TV, and you do a lot of stuff in and around the stadium on match day. You get to a fair amount of away games as well, don't you, including Europe?
Aye, we've been doing well. I only missed 2 last season, so
Wow.
big borrow and steal in it, trying to get tickets. But aye, it was amazing. As the boys were talking about Dortmund there, that was a brilliant trip. But we were all like so excited to go and see the stadium and fancy our chances, and then aye, absolutely embarrassing. We were steaming as well on the post match.
How is it trying to get somebody to talk after such a heavy defeat? Is it sometimes a bit of a chore for folks to step up onto the mic after such a sore one?
It was easy that night. Aye, it's difficult. That is, it's part of the territory with reaction content in it. I've got a good group of boys now that are all regular though, so they're sort of used to the peaks and troughs. It was a bit harder when I first started it, and it was like you're just trying to grab people outside the ground and getting told where to go 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, fair enough. So, and what about how does it work when people are tanked up in Europe? Is that tricky? And yourself included, I suppose?
Aye, well, I've probably learned my lesson for Dortmund, I think. Aye, no, it's fine. I always try and stay as like sensible as I can on the European away trips, and a couple of them I've had to do like travelling the day of the game and stuff, so you need like time to properly enjoy yourself. But aye, it just depends who's there and depends who I can get on the European away trips, because obviously it's a tall order for people to make the journey and stuff. But aye, I love it. It's been amazing.
Brilliant stuff. Sounds like lessons have been learned by all in Dortmund, on and off the park, fan media and the club alike. So listen, we'll kick on, lads. We'll get to round number 2. So very tight at the top, as I was saying. But section number 2, it's a bit more of a mixed bag. There's 6 questions here, not specifically about the season past, very much random as such. So we'll crack on with it. Question number 1, who was the first Celtic manager never to have played for the club? So the first manager not to have played for Celtic. And I'll move on. I can revisit any of these if you need me to repeat later on, but I'll move on quite sharply. In terms of outfield players, who is Celtic's oldest debutant? So who was the oldest player to make their debut for Celtic? And it's outfield players only. Bonus, if you like, for naming the goalkeeper, who's our oldest debutant as well. So who's our oldest outfield debutant? Who's our oldest goalkeeping debutant? Question number 3, who was the first World Cup winner to play for Celtic? The first World Cup winner to play for Celtic. And number 4, including caretaker managers, how many managers did Lubo Moravcik play under at Celtic? And I believe it was Lubo's birthday yesterday, 60th birthday yesterday. No doubt he'll be tuning in, so happy birthday, Lubo. And how many Celtic managers, including caretakers, did he play under? We'll move on to number 5. And I suppose, like some of these, you either know this or you don't. It's the same as the goals scored this season. It's a number. You've either got it or you've not. In 7 years at Celtic, how many goals did Henrik Larsson score? It's become quite a well-known stat, but how many goals did he score between, 97 and 2004? And finally, number 6, the League and Scottish Cup double of last season means that we've now won 120 trophies and 137 years of Celtic. Within that trophy haul, how many times have we lifted the League Cup? So 120 trophies in Celtic's history, but how many times have we lifted the League Cup? These need any repeated? Anyone need a wee nudge for any of the 6?
I get the first one again?
Yep. Question number 1. So, who was the first Celtic manager never to have played for the club?
What was number 3, Tino?
Yeah. 3 was the first World Cup winner to play for Celtic. Anything else? Quinny, Paul, Scott, Paddy? All good?
Sorry,
No,
can I get 6 again quickly?
6? Yeah, no hassle. Number 6, the League and Scottish Cup double, that made it 120 trophies for Celtic and 137 years of the club. But within that 120, how many are League Cup successes? So how many times have Celtic lifted the League Cup? All right. So we'll crack on. And I'll go to you, Paddy, for number 1. So from the top, who was the first Celtic manager never to have played for the club?
I was really trying to think back because I was probably maybe a bit of a trick question with this one, just maybe before my time. I can't remember Liam Brady playing with us.
Liam Brady's spot on. Liam Brady's exactly that. So at the time, there was a bit of noise made that it was the first time that they'd gone out with an ex-player. And Brady obviously had massive experience, Arsenal, Juventus, Republic of Ireland. What a player, but it just did not work out. But Liam Brady, absolutely. So the first Celtic manager never to have played for the club. Question number 2, in terms of outfield players. In fact, we'll go for both, as I say. So who's Celtic's oldest outfield debutant and who's the oldest goalie? Hamish, anything jumping out?
Won't be right. Roy Keane.
It's not, but he played in the same team as Roy Keane. He played in did they play in the League Cup final, the Jimmy Johnson final?
I thought of him as well. I thought of him, if it's who I think it is now. He scored.
Yeah.
Dion Dublin.
Dion Dublin, home's under a hammer. So Dion Dublin, let me get this fact. He was 36 years and 296 days old when he made his debut against Rangers in February 2006. Anyone get the goalie, the oldest goalie to debut for Celtic?
Magnus Edwin.
Alan Ruff.
Now, I'm thinking on my feet, but I think it's the current goalie. Casper was 37 and something when he debuted, and I think it's him. I'll double check that post-event, but if you got Casper, I'll give you a point, and if you got Dion Dublin, you'll get another point for that one. Question 3, the first World Cup winner to play for Celtic, Paul?
Don't have anything.
No.
Nah, drawing a blank.
Janino.
Is it Janino?
Yep, Janino, Scotty and Tony. Both getting that.
Tony didn't think it won, never mind the first.
Tony, be surprised that just didn't work out at all. I think he played something like 14 games under Martin O'Neill in his final season, 2004, 2005. Guy with great pedigree, World Cup winner, but it just didn't happen for him, did it?
See, to be honest, I don't really remember that. I was about 10. I know I look really rough. Just to clarify, I know I look very old, but that was watching Neil Lennon's team during COVID that's really aged me dramatically. So I know I look about 40, but I'm actually only 29. So I'd love to. I could have bullshitted you there and come up with an answer, but I don't know.
But, honesty is the best policy, as Quinny knows. But no, Janino, as I say, we'd seen him. He was down at Middlesbrough, and this kind of Samba type character, World Cup winner, but it just didn't happen at Celtic for whatever reason, and that's just the way it can go. Question number 4, I'd mentioned that Lubo turned 60 in the last day or so, including caretaker managers. How many managers did he play under at Celtic? Scotty's holding up 4, is that, Scotty? Can you name them?
Wenger signed him, John Barnes, Ken Douglas, St. Martin.
Yep, spot on. So 4 managers, including the caretakers for Lubo at Celtic. This one, as I say, you either know it or you don't. And it's Henrik Larsson. In those 7 years at Celtic, how many goals did he score for the club? Hamish, any answer for that one?
I'm going to be one away here. I just know it. Is it 253?
You're pretty close. It's not that. Is anyone confident?
Is it 247?
It's 242. I think Paul maybe said that there, but 242. Yeah, Paul, Quinny, Paddy all seem to have it. So it's just one of those numbers. It's just kind of stuck over the years. So 242 goals for Henrik Larsson. And the last one, again, it's a wee bit tricky. It's almost a math question as much as a football question. But Celtic lifted the League and Scottish Cup double this year to make it 120 trophies exactly, in a 137-year history. And within that trophy haul, how many times have we lifted the League Cup? Anyone confident?
22.
I remember some.
22, Paddy is spot on. 22 League Cups.
Cheers, gang.
So the haul, I've noted it somewhere. Yeah, 55 league titles, 42 Scottish Cups, 22 League Cups, and obviously the big cup in 67, making 120. So that concludes round number 2. I'll start at the top with Paul. Paul had 11 from round 1. Paul, how have you fared in round 2?
A lot worse.
All right.
Was the Lubo managers one bonus points or just a single point?
Afraid not, just a point for getting them.
So 2. 2
points, okay. And second, Scotty was on 10, as was Hamish. Scotty, what have you got?
4, mate.
4, okay. What threw you in that round? What did you struggle with?
Last 2. And the thing is, again, we'd done a review last week, and I wrote down how many trophies we'd won, and I still put 28.
We need to do some work in your retention.
Oh, mate, aye.
Something not happening there.
The beer's battled the brain, pal.
Hamish, you're also on 10 from the first round. What about the second?
Yeah, get 1 there. Bit
One,
of a
okay.
shocker.
Well, third round's all there for the taking. Tony, you're on 9. What about round 2?
I only get 2 as well.
2. I think I've made this round too hard. Quinny, you're on 8. What about round 2?
I got 2 in this one. The World Cup winner one really threw me. It kind of consumed my whole thinking for the rest of the round, to be honest. So I was like, this is going to be so obvious when you hear it. And the guess I made for it was Andy Thomas, thinking maybe he'd done it with West Germany or some nonsense. I don't know, but I knew
He was East German. Sure, he was East German.
Oh, sorry. I beg your pardon. Sorry. It was a hit and hope, you know.
Yeah, not to worry.
I couldn't believe I got those Larson goals as well. I've just always remembered it's just below 250, so I just went 242.
Yeah.
And that's a saviour. Hail Mary.
Fair enough. The World Cup question, the other one that comes into play along that is Edson Braafheid, who played in
the final for the Dutch.
Yeah, but obviously, and barely played for Celtic, and I think he came off the bench that time against Spain. Paddy, finally, 8 for round 1. What about round 2?
5 for this one, Tino.
Oh.
Solid wee comeback there. The 2-4-2 for Larson. I remember it because any time me and the boys have been out and about at the pub and then back to mine, that's the video that goes on YouTube. So the 2-4-2 goals is always played in this house.
Fair enough. Is that Carmela I can hear in the background?
She's trying to get her part into the quiz. Carmela Soprano, the cat, guys.
Aye, just to explain, lads, Carmela is not Paddy's gangster wife. It is Carmela the cat from the Sopranos. Okay, so running tallies then. Paddy, you're on 13, Tony on 11, Quinny on 10, Paul on 13, Scott on 14, out in front on 14. What's going on? And Hamish on 11. Scotty, no pressure, but you're in the driving seat.
Sorry, James, you've been giving me all day about it last time.
I've motivated you, but you're in the driving seat, getting into the final round, so you've got every chance here of coming away a winner. So the final round, as I mentioned, it's another 6 questions, but again, it's focusing more on your knowledge of the season just past. So we'll crack on. We'll see how you lads go. As always, let me know if you need me to repeat or go over any of the questions at all. So number 1 for round 3. We beat Kilmarnock in the opening league game of the season, 4-0. Same as this season coming. It was a Sunday 4:30 kickoff. A bit bizarre for the champions to kick off at 4:30 on a Sunday, but it is what it is. But can you name the missing Celtic player from the lineup on the day? So Casper Schmeichel in goals, a back 4 of Alistair Johnson, Greg Taylor, Liam Scales and Carter Vickers, a midfield 3 of Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate and who? And then up front, we've got Nicholas Kuhn and James Forrest on the wings and Kyogo through the middle. So who's the missing player from Celtic's midfield on opening day of the season? All clear on that? Need me to repeat the lineup or anything? All good. We'll move on. Question number 2. Greg Taylor looks like he's played his last game for Celtic, but how many trophies did he win since arriving at the club in September 2019? So what was that? 6 years or so, just short of 6 years at Celtic. How many trophies did he lift during that time? Question number 3. Celtic had just 1 red card during the campaign. Who was it? And I'll give you a bonus if you can tell me who it was against. So across the whole season, 57 games, only 1 red card. Who was it for? And who was it against? Question number 4. Jamesy Forrest, his late strike against St Mirren in the last league game of the campaign means he's now scored in how many consecutive seasons for Celtic? And a bonus point if you can tell me who he scored his first Celtic goal against when he debuted in May 2010. So, how many consecutive seasons has he now scored for Celtic? And who did he score his very first Celtic goal against? And the penultimate question for tonight, number 5 of this round. Johnny Kenny made his debut for Celtic this season, eventually made 10 appearances across the campaign, scoring 1 goal in the 5-1 win against Aberdeen. But what shirt number does he wear for Celtic? Sorry, Quinny, I can see the pain etched on your face there.
Just didn't see that one coming. I was going to ask, where's this going?
I've taken you down a path and then I've taken a sharp right at the bottom. And last question for tonight, lads. Question number 6. We won the League Cup final in December. We beat Rangers 5-4 on penalties after a 3-3 draw over the 90 minutes plus extra time. Who hit Celtic's 5 perfect penalties? And I need you to get all 5 to get the point. So it's tight at the top. I need you to get all 5 to get that final point of the night. Any questions needing repeated?
Yeah, the last one, I was still counting Taylor's medals in my head.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. So League Cup final, December 15th. We drew 3 each after 90 minutes in extra time. Went to penalties. Celtic scored all 5. Who were the 5 takers?
Is that a point for each, Steve?
Nah, sorry, Paddy. Just 1
That's
for
bang.
all 5. I know. It's tough at the
I think
top.
I've redeemed myself here.
Aye, feeling good? While I've got you, Tony, and while the boys are doing their thing, what's the latest before Tim? Did you do some end of season stuff? Was Darren doing some things?
We did. We're kind of big on the pod, and we're full of good ideas, and then don't speak to each other. We start talking about other stuff. So, see, to be honest with you, I still don't know how I feel about last season, even though as of tomorrow it'll be a month since the Scottish Cup final. I still don't know if it was a good season, an okay season, a great season. It was a strange season. I think the first half was amazing, and then the second half there was so many brilliant results, but so many horrendous ones. Like the 2 Rangers defeats were dreadful. The final was a disaster. But then you put in like Leipzig and beating Young Boys of Bern, and kind of different ones were really good. One in the League Cup final was such a high. So we've not really done anything, if I'm honest. Hopefully we'll get something out. Maybe now the fixtures are out, we can kind of pinpoint the big matches and kind of take it for there. But no, we've not really done much at all. You don't want to just do something just for the sake of it kind of thing either. So we'll see. We'll try and get something out.
Yeah, the season in general, when you take a step back, and I suppose in years to come, you'll look back and go, geez, there was another double winning season, great stuff. But it's the way it fizzled out, isn't it? And I think the kind of common ground has been, or the common opinion has been that after Dortmund, it just kind of fizzled out, didn't it? There was such excitement going into that, and we performed with real credit across those 2 legs. But after that, Tony, it was just a bit of a procession, and we couldn't go from that kind of low level. We failed to lift ourselves accordingly for the cup final.
After Munich, it kind of dropped, but there was times where you thought we were picking it back up. Like St Johnstone beat us, and then we put 4 past Kilmarnock in the space of about half an hour. Then we had a kind of credible draw at Ibrox, where I thought we played okay. And then getting into the cup final, Aberdeen had blown 3rd, blown 4th. I think one of their fans has hit one of their players in the head with a chair, and you're thinking, this is all pointed to us winning the cup final. But as I've said a few times in the pod, I think I've been to 16 finals, and that's the first time I've ever seen us lose one. So there is a part of me going, you kind of take it in the chin, and there's a part of me going, how the fuck did we lose? But I guess, as you say, you look back on it in a few years and go, oh, another double one. But I think if you look at the last kind of decade, it's kind of treble, double, nothing, double, treble, you know. So we've been very lucky when it's came to domestic success. And I think Brendan Rodgers, as much as he probably still a bit of a divisive figure, he's been a part of, if you look at his arrival and the kind of standards he's put, he's a main part of us becoming the most successful club in Scotland and having the most trophies and all that kind of thing. So I'll excuse him, I guess, for one bad cup final, but we'll see how next season goes.
Yeah, I mean, his record's incredible. Whether he's, your favourite or not, his record just cannot be argued with. And I suppose your own record, 15 wins out of 16 finals, you would take it all day long. So let's hope that streak continues moving forward. Quinny, just from your own point of view, so you're on at the moment representing Celtics are here. You do a lot of stuff with Craig and the guys over there. You also do your own separate stuff on your own channels. What's keeping you busy just now?
I've quite enjoyed keeping up to speed with all the Celtic stuff in terms of the transfer window and transfer targets and just going through the rumour mill and all that kind of thing. So, it's something we've tried to do a lot more on the channel, is just like try and cover as many things as we can when it comes to like players or tactics or the squad, the managers you were chatting about there as well. I think it's a wee bit understated if I can just add on to that last point. Like, Brendan changed a lot of games this season. Granted, it's from the bench and you're kind of expecting substitutions when you've got 5 of them available nowadays. But yeah, so we're just kind of keeping on with that. I quite enjoy doing off-season content personally because nothing moves, whereas like see during the season, things are happening all the time. Somebody's getting injured, somebody's hot on form, somebody's, down, off, falling off the pedestal or whatever. Whereas like in the summer, like nothing changes. Everyone's opinion on how we did last season isn't going to change based on a result with the weekend that's going to happen, coming up or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm always quite happy to get stuck into hot air, speculation chat, who's coming in, who's coming out. Look at back to this like we're doing tonight, like look at the squad, who did well, who passed, who failed. So yeah, I keep myself busy across the Celtic stuff as well.
Yeah, good stuff. We, as a channel, myself, Paddy, and the guys at the Celtic Exchange, we don't generally do much by way of speculation because it all moves that quickly. You spend a bit of time, speak to somebody in a different country about a guy that's going to sign, and then he goes elsewhere, and you've wasted a couple of hours of your time. But there's a valid place for it, and it's I think a lot of fans clamour for that kind of content. Am I right in saying, did you call? Is it Benjamin Nyren? Is that how we pronounce that? Did you call that somewhere? I seen a clip where you'd kind of forecast him as somebody who could be good.
So I managed to find a clip of like someone. So I do this series on the channel. I've been doing it for the last 3 months or something, where I kind of just go to a random league and scout it and like try and look at who we could like. And normally I've got some insight on the players because I watch a lot of football, or I've got a lot of people I speak to that watch stuff anyway, yada yada. And I couldn't find it in that series, so I think I must have done it during the season when we were linked to Kvitsgarden. But at one point when we were linked to Kvitsgarden, I went through Denmark, and when I looked at Negren, like Negren was like top of the list, but all the chat around him was Brentford and Brighton for 10 to 15 mil, and that was going back middle of the season there. So I'd always like discounted them as like, we're never going to be able to afford it sort of thing. And the clip you found was someone saying, no, put him back on the list because he's out of contract in December, and maybe we could make it happen. And then like fast forward like, I don't know, a week or something, and 1.7 mil. You know what I mean? Where did that come from? And isn't that just Celtic's favourite price, under 2 million?
Yeah. I was just going to say, I'm anti £2 million signings these days, but that does seem a good bit of business. I think he's out of contract in December and could be an exciting one, and we'll see where it goes. Paddy, just to round up on yourself before we get the final scores. We've reflected a lot there as a group here on the season past. How are you feeling about the season to come? Are you excited? Are you confident again under Brendan? Key signings required? Where are you at?
Yeah, optimistic about the season ahead. I think he set out to progress us a little bit more in Europe, and I think we definitely seen that last year. The wind was taking out our sails a little bit after the Munich games, definitely. I think that we could see that in the performances. We weren't at the level that we were hitting for the first half of the season, and then even up to those Bayern games as well. So that is the kind of fuel that Rodgers likes, though, and I think that for next season he'll be looking to set down a few markers early doors, but also just not letting that complacency set in. That's a big thing to do with such a big team. It's not a start 11 anymore, as we spoke about. The 5 subs off the bench have such an important part. So how do you keep those guys motivated? You need to be playing Champions League football. You need to be playing at the top level. So there's excitement about players coming in. There will be excitement about the players that are still there. So I'm looking forward to next season. We'll also see what kind of challenge we're getting for the rest of the league. There seems to be some good investment for the likes of Hibs, Aberdeen. We'll see what happens across the road as well. I know that a lot of people will be tuning in to see what you're saying tonight, after your Sky Sports debut the other day. But no, for me, it's an exciting season ahead. And I just think every year is, but there's something about this one. There's also still the uncertainty of Rodgers next season as well, which I would like to get cleared up. But I've been kind of looking at it the other side of, he'll be waiting to see what the board give him for this season.
Exactly, and we know he's entering this final year, and I'm not sure about you lads. I'm really keen to see him extend. We'll see how that goes, but he must be backed. He's proven his worth, and he must be backed in the summer window, and I think he will be. And it'll be exciting to see if we can make some key additions. Ben Negren and others hopefully can get fully supported. Just very quickly to address, Paddy mentions I had a wee snippet on Sky Sports the other day. Sky Sports are no daft. They took the tiny wee section where I was asked a question about Rangers. I answered the question about Rangers. They've clipped that up, put it on Twitter, and what a pile-on. I dread to think my mum might see it. It's horrendous, and it's good fun as much as getting.
A favourite for me is a Timo Steve Martin. I'm going to say that. Absolutely brilliant.
I've been called a lot worse, but that's one of the more polite comments. Let's just put it that way. But
to be fair, I went in Axom about 5 years ago, and I've still never recovered. It's a wonder I've not shaved my head off. I think I get called every name under the sun. Fucking from Samaras to Bobby Sands to Lord Farquhar. I think I get hit with the law. I've never really recovered from it. I used to be like a wee clip of me saying something. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something like, they're taking the piss out of us on Twitter, and it used to just be everywhere. But so I'll be forever grateful for Big Ange for winning the league back right away. Rick, and I took away from it. But I think you put yourself out there, you need to be ready to get hit back, which is it's all part of it.
I suppose you do. It's all part of the game. What I might do is jump into that thread, Tony, and just link it off to Axum and just divert it all back to you just to get the heat off myself. But listen, we'll get back to the quiz. So we've obviously concluded there, round 3. We'll run through the answers and we'll see who finishes top of the tree. So question number 1, we beat Kilmarnock in the opening game 4-0 Sunday 4th of August, but name the missing Celt from the lineup: Schmeichel, Johnson, Taylor, Scales, Carter Vickers, Kalmak, Hatate, Blank, Nicholas Kuhn, James Forrest and Kyogo. Anyone confident?
Matt
O'Reilly.
O'Reilly, aye.
Matt O'Reilly, Scotty, is spot on. Yep. So obviously he moved on quite sharpish, and like Kyogo, it's not quite worked out, has it? But Matt O'Reilly, huge player for Celtic over the last couple of years, and he was the missing man. Just quickly, Scotty, we're not dwelling on it too much. Do you think we've not quite replaced a Matt O'Reilly? Engels is obviously a guy with huge potential, and most folk are quite excited. But did we miss that creative spark that O'Reilly offered?
You definitely do. I mean, you saw when we've been missing Rio for the big games, and he's the kind of guy that's took up that mantle. Rio, frustratingly inconsistent, as we know, but you saw how many games he's played. That's per your question, that how important he is. So, but Matt O'Reilly gave you that other option, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? And the fact of the matter is, Bernardo, a guy who I really, really enjoy, and I've been watching him with the Euros here and stuff like that. Maybe it's because he's not a big run at games, but he's not really developed. He's not really pushed on. Again, he could have his own frustrations, but it's not really worked. And is he that kind of player? Because I noticed for Portugal, he plays far more aggressively and attack-wise than he does for us. And I think that's really interesting. I don't really know with the Matt O'Reilly thing, because you go and look at all the goals that's been shipped in by everybody. And Engels, no matter what you say, Engels is a guy on the way up as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think with Engels, he's yet to solidify himself where he is, what he is. I mean, I remember listening to you, Paddy. You were talking about him on one of the live shows, and I kind of done like Quinny done. See, when we signed him, I done a big deep dive on him, and I asked a load of my mates in Germany about him. And see, when he came through at Club Brugge NXT, he was played right, he was played left, he was played fullback, and then he played in the middle of like a plain Jane centre mid, and then he kind of shunted out the team. So he's never really defined a position, and I still think Brendan Rodgers is the right guy to be working under. So I know I didn't actually answer your question there, but
I forgot what the question was.
I'm just still going.
So in conclusion, no, we've not replaced Matt O'Reilly. No, I think there is a lot of excitement about Engels, but is he an 8, a 6? Who knows? But he's a talented boy, and hopefully he kicks on next year. So yeah, a point for Matt O'Reilly. Question 2, Greg Taylor. Looks like he's played his last for Celtic, but how many trophies did he win since arriving in September 2019? Hamish, any shout on that?
I've got 12 down, 2 trebles, 3 doubles.
I've got 11, which is 5 Scottish Premierships, 3 Scottish Cups and 3 League Cups.
Are you counting the Scottish Cup for the COVID season, the one that we won?
I'm just counting what
1920?
Wikipedia tells me to count. I don't know. Well, I tell you
I
what.
think it is 12 now.
Yeah, I think it's 12.
Right, let's go for 12. And if it's tight
I
at the
think
top,
it's 10.
I'll need. Gee, I thought it was 11.
10 as well.
So, okay, let's go for 11/12. There's a bit of leeway on that one. Question number 3. The one player, Celtic had one player sent off during the season. There's 2 points up for grabs here. Who was the player and who was it against, Quinny?
Dyson,
And who did he get sent off against?
Dortmund.
It was Young Boys. It was the penultimate game. It ruled them out of the Villa game, frustratingly.
It was the OG.
And I think they thought it was going to be a 2-game ban, but he was allowed back in for the Munich game. But yep, Dyson Maeda against Young Boys. So 2 points there up for grabs. Question number 4, James Forrest's late goal. There's 2 points here as well. His late goal against St Mirren means he has now scored in how many consecutive seasons, and who did he score his first Celtic goal for? Paul, what have you got?
16 seasons,
Yep.
and Motherwell on it.
Yep, spot on. Motherboy came off the bench in a 4-0 win under Lenny in May 2010, lobbed the goalie. So, yep, 16 goals in Motherwell will get you 2 points. Second from last, Johnny Kenny, blah, blah, blah. Johnny Kenny, debut this, debut that. But what number does he wear? Quinny, did you get it?
Total guess, I said 36.
Paddy?
24.
24 for Johnny Kenny. I'll stay with you quickly on that, Paddy. Does Johnny Kenny have a future at Celtic?
He's going to have to work hard. I'll keep that one short. I really like him. I think that, he done well playing in the Conference League, and obviously enough for us to bring him back and have a closer look at him. But I think it was needs must for him to come back in order to have a bit of backup, considering we never replaced Kyogo. So no, I don't think he's going to be the answer for Celtic. I'd love to be proven wrong, obviously, but yeah, I don't see him being the quality that we require in that position.
Yeah, and you can't knock him at all in terms of his attitude and his work rate. And the goal he scored, the kind of flashing header against Aberdeen, great goal, done really well for Shamrock Rovers in the Conference League. But Celtic will and must sign a new striker, maybe even 2, you never know, and you just don't know where that leaves him. But we'll see. He's an honest boy and he's worked hard, and we'll see what happens moving forward. Very last question, and there's only 1 point up for grabs here. We won the League Cup in December. We beat Rangers 5-4 in penalties after a 3-3 draw. Who hit Celtic's 5 perfect penalties? Hamish, do you want to go?
Right, so Maida, Engels, McGregor, Hatate, Ida.
Perfect, absolutely spot on. And I've called them perfect penalties. Dies Maida's was a shocker. It was a terrible penalty. And his penalty in the Scottish Cup final wasn't much better, albeit they both hit the back of the net, and you can't argue. But yeah, 5 perfect penalties. What was your reflections? Hamish, Tony obviously spoke about the disappointment, the way the season fizzled out, Scottish Cup final-wise, but beating Rangers on penalties was a buzz, wasn't it?
That was a crazy game. I think folk kind of forget about that game, to be honest. Like, I mean, we beat Rangers on penalties to win a cup. Like, it doesn't happen very often. I just remember that game being frantic and mad. And I think folk forget like that Nicholas Kuhn goal. Yeah. Was it an extra time or was it normal? I think it was in normal time. Normal time.
Yeah.
And he scored that, and that would have been like an iconic Celtic goal. Last minute winner against Rangers to win the cup, and then we went and conceded literally from kick-off. And I remember penalty kicks just thinking we're not going to win this. But I thought the same before the Aberdeen final, and we eventually didn't win a penalty shootout. So I guess you'd probably rather win that League Cup one against Rangers than the Scottish Cup, maybe. I don't know.
I think so. Somebody asked me that question, sore as it was to take the defeat against Aberdeen, when you take a step back and somebody offered you one or the other, I'm taking the League Cup against Rangers. You've got to. Okay, so that concludes the quiz. I'm going to come at you randomly, I suppose, for your numbers, and we'll get a tally. Hamish, I'll stay with you. You get 10 in the first round, 1 in the second to leave you on 11. What have you finished on?
6 there.
6 there to give you 17 in total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see how that goes. Scotty, you were leading the pack on 14. How did you score in the final round?
Bottled it, mate. Bottled it. 4.
The big game pressure got to you.
4. Adam Ida. Bugger.
Who did you guess then? Who was your 5th taker?
AJ. I don't know why I had AJ in my head, but...
bad memories from the cup final. All right, so you're out in front at the moment on 18. I'll come to Quinny next. Quinny, you were sitting on 10. How many did you get the last round?
4.
4, okay. So 14 to finish. You're in the driving seat for the wooden spoon as it stands. But we'll see. we'll see how we go. Paul, I'll come to you next. You were on 13.
6. So I get the penalty takers wrong, and I had 10 trophies for Taylor.
We have a new leader on 19. So let me see. Paddy's on 13. Tony's on 11. Tony, I'll come to you next. What did you add to your 11?
7.
Oh, unlucky. So that leaves Tony on 18. So the moment before I come to Paddy, we've got Paul on 19, Scotty and Tony tied in second place on 18, Hamish on 17, Quinny on 14. Paddy, you were on 13. Giza?
I got 5. I got 5. So I lost it on the penalties. I put down Taylor instead of Hatate. Totally forgot about it. That penalty. It's a good one.
Okay.
And I thought Scales get sent off this season just because it's Scales.
Aye, it's always a possibility, but
No, I forgot about the Maida Young Boys game. So I've let the side down. I'm just going to go, mate.
just you log off and I'll wrap it up for here. But no, a credible joint second. So I'll just run through it in reverse order. So Quinny on 14. We've then got Hamish on 17. Paddy, Tony and Scotty all on 18. But out in front, Paul, on his first appearance with 19. It's Paul from Celtic Fans TV. Paul, well done. You're the winner of the 24-25 Celtic Exchange Quiz of the Year. Just remind us, Paul, your charity, the one you've picked and why.
So I picked the Churchill Trust, anti-poverty charity. It runs a lot of food banks across the country. It's obviously difficult times for people. Seems like it's always difficult times, but just now particularly. So I delighted with that. I thought the second round there had snookered me.
There's always those tricky ones in the third to give everyone a chance. But listen, well done, Paul. Well done, everyone. Listen, a very genuine thanks. Thanks, as I say, first of all, for taking part. It's a good bit of fun mid-season, but thanks more importantly for your generosity here as a group to put £400 towards what's a brilliant cause there. Paul, I'll speak to you offline. We'll get that transferred over in your name. And finally, just as I say, a big thanks to everyone for taking part. Thanks to everyone who's tuned in. Be sure to check out everything the guys are doing across their channels throughout the season. Celtic Fans TV, 4 Tims Podcast, Celtic AM, Homebhoiys Podcast, Celts are here, and of course right here in the Celtic Exchange, where we'll be returning very soon with big plans for the season ahead. But in the meantime, thanks for listening. We'll see you all again really soon.